Welcome back to CEO Money. It's Michael Yorba, your host, and I've got Mike Breese, President, Pinpoint Homes, pinpointeg.com. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great today. How are you doing?
I think I'm going to make it. All right. All right. What do you want to talk about today? What's on your mind?
Well, I thought we'd talk about at least two different topics. First, about title companies.
Okay.
Just, as buyers and sellers, and especially in large volume, a title company is a crucial partner to the process of what we do, especially as investors, but also really for anybody when they're deciding to buy and sell property.
Got it. Yeah, you're going to have to lead me down the garden path on this because you have a lot more experience with title companies than I do. But it seems to me that just off the tip of my head, and I'm just using this to start the conversation here, you got to have your own. You got to make sure you have your own and a good relationship with them if you're going to be in business. Let me know if I'm connecting the dots here.
Yeah, you're right. Because your property and the title to it is everything to you, right? It's what declares your ownership with it. It's what declares that you're the one that has the right to it. It's the one that makes sure that it's yours to continue to invest in and sell at a future date. And so, too often I've seen people, usually because they want the process to be simple, they go with whoever the seller recommends or the seller's working with or who their mortgage company would like to use. But you know what? Those title companies, guess whose interests they have at mind?
It's obvious.
They got the other parties, right? They don't have yours. And so little things that might come up like, is there an HOA or not? I had one just yesterday, Michael, that we were getting ready to close, and the seller said there wasn't an HOA, and thankfully I have my own title company looking out for my interests. They researched it and said, no, actually there is a CIC on this, which is an HOA, and these are the fees per year, and you're obligated to them.
Hey.
Now, luckily there were low fees, and in this case, had I closed on it, it would have been a $300 a year problem, which isn't a big deal. But there's other times where that's come up, and there's actually $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $12,000 in back HOA dues that weren't disclosed by the sellers. And had we not had our title company to protect us, we would have been obligated to pay those once we closed. So there's a lot of little things, little encumbrances, easements, various liens. There's so many things that can go wrong with title that would put the purchaser exposed to those obligations, because that's the way it works. Once you buy the property, it's yours. It's your obligation. So you could inherit those costs or those penalties and have no options. So that's why it's very important you have you find a title company that you partner with and that you use. Like me, I've used the same one in Minneapolis for the last 14 years because that's where I've started and done the most work. Literally the same title company and the same closer for every transaction.
Well, let me peek under the kimono here for a second, because you're expanding your business, your real estate investment fund, to not just in Minneapolis, but actually here in Dallas and working in Houston. If I may ask, who is it that you're using that you found that you like to use in Texas?
So I actually have a good friend, Jay Jacobs, that goes 30 years back in title. He worked for various companies and throughout the years, and now has his own company called Titleology. And so Titleology is a direct agent-focused title company. What I mean by that is a lot of the big companies, Fidelity, Stewart, they're using some partnered agents. They're not the ones actually doing it. They're the global partner, but they're not the ones locally that are actually doing the work for you. Whereas with Titleology in 42 counties in Texas at least, they are the direct, and the counties, of course, that I'm buying in, they are the direct source, the direct ones pulling and examining the title and doing all the legwork. So I like to use people I know and trust, and Jacobs and I go back 5 years and done a lot of other business together, and there was a lot of trust there. So when we started buying in Houston and Dallas now, I immediately called him and knew that was a trusted source. He would protect our interests, our investors' interests, and of course make it easier and more efficient for us on the buy side. And for when we sell, we want to make it easy for those that are buying we want to make sure that our title company is cooperative and quick, so there's no delays because of title. I use Titleology, and I would recommend them all day to our listeners in Texas.
All right, update us on Pinpoint now with the 4 silos that you're working with your real estate investment fund.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to talk about, there's as Pinpoint, we've grown to understand that different investors have different needs or wants with their investments. Some want some quick cash, some want long-term hold and let things just accrue, and they're not so worried about distributions. Others want, anything that can help them reduce tax liabilities while still making an earning. There's just so many, and then others, like certain markets and don't like other markets. If you live in Dallas and you want to only invest in something that you can drive to, we have a silo for that. If you live in Houston, same thing. If you live in Minneapolis, same thing. Or we have silos where we literally blend all that together. And so what I wanted to tell those that are listening and have been thinking about investing in Pinpoint is to let them know there's not just one formula or one box that they have to climb into. We have at least 4, and we're always open to more different opportunities for investors that match their needs within what we're offering.
What's been the track record? I want to bring this out. I'm going to ask you and you tell us, but the track record you've developed is, there's hedge fund managers that work for Goldman Sachs that would love to have your track record. Bring that out a little bit without getting yourself in trouble, because there's some things you're not supposed to disclose, or bring out and talk on the air, but you can still talk about some of it, right?
Yeah, with investors, I think, especially accredited investors, which is who we're focused on, know that there's risks in investment. There always is. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an investment. It would be a bond, and it would or it'd be in the bank account earning 0.25%. So, to do something, you have to take on some risk to get that better return. Now, that said, our job and our track record is showing that typical risk we've mitigated a lot, and thus have a higher than normal return. Like first quarter of this year was 44.89% on an annualized basis. And our track record actually is in excess of that if you look at the last 8 years. So, a lot of that goes into our secret sauce with how we do things, and of course leveraging our experience and also reducing the amount of fixed costs and overhead that we have. But, this is what we do, and we do it well. I think there was a bankruptcy attorney that said that one time, so I don't want to be associated with that, but this is what we do, and we do it well. It's single family. And what we do to make sure that our returns don't diminish is we don't get involved in things we don't know. That's probably the number one rule that anybody can follow. Do what you're good at. Do what you're successful with, and that's what we stick to. Got to go, Mike, but thanks. I'll see you next Thursday. Yep, take care. We'll see you next Thursday. All right, you got it. Mike Breese, President, Pinpoint Homes, LLC, pinpointek.com. You've been listening to CEO Money with Michael Yorba. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you again tomorrow.